All right, here we are. And there are five of us so far tonight. We don't have a guest and we don't have a topic, but sometimes those are some of our really good streams. And we're going to take any questions. If anybody wants to join us, we'll give you the link. Um, so, how's everybody doing on the panel?
Pam,
What?
age before beauty.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I always love to start with a good cat.
I don't get that chance very often. I'll take it when I can.
God.
I'm just hanging in there.
Well, Pam, while I'm thinking about it, it's going to have a stream tonight at 10 Eastern.
Oh, wow.
So, and I think there's art involved.
No, 11 Eastern.
11
Oh.
Eastern.
What did it say, 10?
Yeah.
Can never do it. The stroke.
The usual time of my streams, only
Yeah.
an extra day because I got a couple little cards that I need to sell to finish up paying my power bill so that I don't freeze to death.
That's good. That's
Being
good.
old, you know.
Right. Well,
Well
Dee Dee,
done.
who's that flopping around beside you? What is that flopping around? A load?
That's going to be a dojo loach. I don't know which one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
I'm trying to learn some new skills here.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh, the green screen?
Yeah,
Nice.
and so
So
I
that's-
got a collection of all my dojos and put them all on one thing. And
Oh, so that's not live. Okay, cool.
no,
Is it hard to learn how to do that?
no, not really. You're more afraid, just like CO2. You're scared to death of it because you don't think you can, and then you think, is that all there was to it? Stephen and Jenna and Annette and Matt helped me last night get it set up, and it was
Awesome.
like, okay, that wasn't that bad. And I thought, well, maybe I won't be able to remember all the steps today because we did a trial run for me, and I forgot one thing, but I kept thinking, it's like I knew I got to do something, and it's like, oh, okay, push this virtual camera button. That's it.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Nice. Well, hello, everybody in the chat. I'm not ignoring you guys. I just wanted to jump right into it. But we are watching for questions and comments, so throw them at us. So, Susie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm tired. I'm puppy tired, but I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I acquired a new fish, a bala shark, which was pretty interesting because I've never owned
cool.
one before. Yeah. So I have him upstairs in my 120, get acclimating him, seeing how he gets along, and he seems to swim along with the giant Danios. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I've never heard anything challenging about them. I'm trying not to use con or negative. I've never heard anything challenging about them except their size, that they
Yeah.
can be big.
He's already this big, and that's only half the size is going to get bigger.
What tank is he in? What size?
120, so it's 4 foot by 2 foot deep, so it's a short, fat 120. It's not a long one.
Right.
So, and it's got lots of logs and hides and long plastic plants to hide behind in case he wants to hide or other people want to hide from him. And the Danios really helped. He didn't hide at all. They're nonstop swimming. The giant Danios, they're just nonstop. And
Yes, you are.
joined right in.
Awesome.
They're on patrol all the time.
They are nonstop. Like, don't they ever get tired?
It seems like sharks, that they really do swim like sharks all the time. I've never even heard that they're aggressive or anything like rainbow sharks. I know they can be butts.
Oh my gosh, are those the black red tailed? Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I had one swimming around, and I'm like, where are my guppies? It was my first baby tank, and he swam in front with a big belly. I was so mad. I picked him up and I just threw him in the Mbuna tank. I was so mad. And that's where he lived for the next 4 years, just fine and fat, and got along great with them. I'm like, good. But I had no idea he was going to eat up all my guppies.
I had one in my silver dollar tank and with some great big barbs. and it chased the barbs nonstop. So they told me at the fish store, which I'd researched, to get at least 3 of them, and that would disperse that, like tiger barbs or something. So I got 3, and 2 of them ganged up on one and killed it. And then
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you can't have more than one. Oh, my God.
yeah. So I was back down to that one, and I moved him out to a smaller tank by himself, and he lived another 4 or 5 years, like a 20 long.
Mine lived a year and a half in the back of a filter. I thought
Wow.
he died. I thought he jumped out or something. Like, didn't care too much anyway. And then one day, cleaning the filter, no big deal. But I took the basket out. Usually, I just took the filter out. And there he was, fat and happy. It was a year and a half later, living in my filter. I'm like, what?
Wow.
This guy's amazing. So I put him back in with the Mbunas, and there he kept on living.
I know those guys are a type of minnow. I don't remember what, and they have little bitty mouths like minnows. So he probably was in his element in there.
Oh my gosh, he must have ate everything that came through that filter.
Well, Mike, what's going on with you? Are you getting things sorted out?
Well, trying. Raised about 1,200 of the rent, so still short about 600. So
Well, we'll try to. I see that Sam's posting your links out there, so I'll hit your PayPal too after the stream. See if we can get you a little more in there. Little more, or a lot more, or a lot more.
and the
Well, we do
doctor-
have some newer people in here that haven't been in here in a while. You might want to tell them what's going on.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, Mike, or you want to tell them, Mike, or you want me to?
You can go ahead.
Well, Mike, as you know, has been in the fish film for a long time, and he used to be Grumpy Mike, but we got him out of his grumpiness. So, but he keeps fish and reptiles, and he's always been a live streamer and makes videos and all that. But Mike's always been part of the fish film. He's always been there to help if somebody needs something, anything he can do. He's always done it. So he's one of us. So. He had some health problems recently and landed up in the hospital, and they're chronic problems, and he's not going to be able to go back to the work. The doctors told him he's disabled, so he's in the process of getting those things activated. And being disabled myself, I can tell you it's a bitch, but you eventually get through it. And anyway, once he gets those things in place, he'll have money for his bills and stuff. But like all of us, he has house payments and car payments and utilities, and so that's what he needs money for right now. Food. So anything anybody can do, $5 will be a blessing for him. So we all help each other when we can, and this is a great opportunity to jump in there and get him over the hump.
That's why I love this community, man. We're so
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely.
By the same token, never be afraid to ask the fish fam, if you've got a crisis or something, because we're here. So, how was that?
That's great. Thank you.
All right.
And Nathan Hovey has a question. Of course, some in the chat have helped him, but maybe if y'all can shed some light if you have some direct knowledge. There you go. No, go further up.
Uh-oh. I can barely read the names, let alone
He's
the
he's
question.
like at 809.
See, I don't have, it's not stamped on here because it's StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
I know that's not him, but can you just read it while I'm looking?
Well, it says, so I've done substrate swaps before, but what's y'all's take on them? I have 3 filters running on the tank, so I'm not worried about beneficial bacteria, but I don't want to lose the root tabs, LOL. So he must have just recently loaded her up with root tabs and wants to change out sand. He did say later on that some of the areas were getting mushy.
I'm not understanding the question. So
He wants to change out the substrate, but he don't want to lose. Can he save the root tabs by moving the substrate, or when he moves that substrate, are the root tabs just going to go up in the water column, the fertilizer?
See
And
what-
then he'd lose the tabs.
I've never done that before, but it seems like you would be able to just maybe scoop out with like a ladle or a tablespoon or something right under the tab and get a lot of that out if it's not completely dissolved. And
Huh, I never noticed. How long does it take for them to dissolve?
I don't know. I used to add them. I haven't used any in a while, but I used to add them like every 3 or 4 months. I would just add them back in.
I use some red clay and let it dry out and then use that for extra iron. But that dissolves as soon as you start putting in the water, it already starts dissolving. So I just assumed the root tabs did similar. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
Mark.
someone in the chat does. What substrates are you switching out? What for what? That'd be interesting to know.
Now,
Mark Strelson said he would just count the root tabs as gone.
Yeah.
or maybe to hold off for a month or so and get as much as you can before you do it.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. That's for sure. Just don't burn your plants up. Shouldn't with those things. They're pretty safe.
Did you say hi to everybody in the chat?
No, but I did say, by the way, hello to everybody in the stream. And I did not ignoring you. I just wanted to jump into it. But if you want to do that, Dee Dee, Miss,
Where is that little participants thing? Where do I find that at?
I don't know.
Oh, I know. I just found it.
That would be
Well,
nice.
and I guess apparently people haven't talked. So you got the chitter chat, something, y'all. But AAA Aquatics, Amateur Aquatic Addictions in here. Levi Meese is in here. Haven't seen Levi in a couple of streams.
No.
Mark Sterlson, Nathan Hovey, Paul McCarthy, Red Laser, Scuba, Steve O's Aquatics, and I'm wearing his shirt tonight. And TGA Autoquas, Banoski Fish Kodo, and Why Are We Always Yelling? And I see Mick M is here, Dragon Lair's here, Foxy is here, Jenny Lynn is here. Jenny Lynn, if you didn't see the clip, you got to see it. And Yeller, do what you got to do, buddy. Post it. And Patrick is here. I don't know if I said Dragon Lair. And we have the BP No Salt. She hasn't been in a while, but I used to see her all the time on Funks, and she's in here tonight.
Awesome. We got some really awesome people in here tonight.
Yeah.
Sketty Nona. I call her Nona, and Boots and Cats and Boots and Cats and Boots and Cats. And Paul McCarthy. And I don't know if I said Red Laser or not, but I hope I didn't miss anybody. But if I did, I'm sorry. Trying to do it.
Dee. For some reason, it takes me so long to want to focus on it and read it with my bifocals. It takes forever. Thank you. Did you want him to post the clip of the snake bite? Is that what you were talking about?
Well, if you don't, I can.
I didn't know if that's
There
what
you go.
Well,
I mean,
guys,
it kept it really handy. Sorry.
yeah, I bet.
You know, you had a great time when I fell out the chair. So it's like,
That's
karma's a
true.
bitch.
That's true. That was a lot of fun. But honestly, guys,
It was fun.
The snake did not bite me. It barely grazed my arm, and I won't try to show you because you can't even see it. It's like 3 little tiny drops, and I tried to get them to bleed for Pam's live stream last night, and I couldn't even get the blood to come out of them. But it did break the skin just barely because the mite medicine I had on started burning my arm a little. But thanks to her long nose, I think you can see in the video her nose hits and turns up, so she didn't quite get me. Lucky me, but I bet she would have helped. There's nothing there too but bones, so that would have hurt, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I didn't know Bob could still move that fast.
He Bob still can move. We
I
saw
know.
that he did not
pretty
drop that
fast.
snake.
I
I would have
sa-
flung that snake across the room.
I saved the clip so that I can like put it on loop and watch it over and over and over again while I'm going to bed every night. Kind of make me relax, you know.
right? Talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
laughing, Pam was laughing her ass off.
I know, but she didn't even.
No, I wouldn't laugh at something like that.
You know Karma's gonna get her. Karma's gonna get her.
But I kept saying like 2 or 3 times. I said it didn't get me. It didn't get me. Or she didn't get me. She didn't get me. But it looks just like she did. So I see why
It,
y'all
it
talking.
looked like she tagged you.
Yeah, I was so lucky, lucky.
And probably the angles were in your favor
Her long nose was in my favor.
because she was coming at you from like this away.
Yeah,
But if she'd have had you like this, she probably could have sat right in on you.
and held on too. That's what
Yeah,
I
she just got.
always.
It looked like she got scared of me. I'm not a snake lover by any means, but when you turned her close to the camera, it was like she thought, "Oh, camera, do something."
Yeah, it looked like she got scared to me too.
Well, I had just greased her up and down. I had sprayed her with Mike medicine, which stinks and smells bad. I'm sure it tastes bad, and tried not to get any in her face. And then I was holding her with one hand, and then I switched hands and I was rubbing her up and down, like greasing her with that water has Dawn detergent in it and the medicine, and she did okay. But then she raised up a couple of times, and I'm like, no, and then she raised up by my arm, and I'm like, oh. She paused, and then she nailed me from the side. So anyway, I was able to hang on to her though and put her back in there. And when I put her in the tub, I had her in a tub so I could clean her enclosure really good. And when I put her back, I just put the tub in and tilted it and poured her in there. Yeah, and that's how she's going to come out next time. She's going to ride out in that tub.
Yeah. Well, you did your snake charming duties. You greased and rubbed, and that usually relaxes people. You just maybe didn't grease up enough or didn't rub enough. I don't know.
I think I rubbed too much. I pissed her off. She was not happy. But she did super great, to be a wild caught snake.
She did.
And to have been in that tank for, I don't know, 2 or 2.5 months now. Of course, she eats good and everything's right in there, all of her parameters. And I was unloading that thing. That took me an hour like to unload that, didn't it, Pam? I was like, she's got way too much stuff in here, way too much habitat. There were pieces, like 6 or 7 big pieces of wood, large rocks, all plants, all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, this is not all going back in here.
Yeah,
No way.
at least you could if it's still freezing. You could probably like put everything outside and let it freeze, and it would kill off any mites.
Well, that's where it is, because as I took each piece out, I went out off camera because I was going right out the door. I was doing that in the foyer and spraying every piece of wood, even the plants down. I don't care if it kills them or not; they have to be sprayed. But they're all out there. But it's 53, I think, right now. So.
Yeah,
so
out here.
It needs to freeze.
Yeah.
So is that why you didn't want to put all the stuff back in, or is it because it's just too much stuff?
Well, the tutorial I'm following is Snake Discovery, and that's what she said. But she talked about like the soaking and all that stuff. And I'm like, the least I handle this snake's going to be the better for both of us, probably, with these chemicals. And so she says just to spray them and then take everything out and spray it all down and just put the paper towels back down. But several sites warned that with the a Brazilian rainbow boa, because of their humidity requirements, it's not as bad for the adults, which she is, I think, that it's hard not having that big water bowl in there. And none of the snakes should have a water bowl for 3 days so they don't get in it and soak the stuff off of them. You leave it on them dry and drink
Oh my
it.
gosh, it's Jeff Rose is here.
Hey, Jeff Rose.
How you doing?
Howdy,
Jeff
howdy.
Rose is sleeping.
I saw your engagement pictures on Facebook. They're really nice.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see? Oh, he's been posting engagement pictures. They're really nice.
Ooh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very nice photography. Anyway, I'm going to be right back because I hear my coffee's ready,
Awesome.
and I'm going to go get it.
Ed and Emily are good people. Who's Ed and Emily? Did Chattanooga Ed hook up with somebody?
I do not know. I saw that too, and Levi had put it out there.
Ed had to take his parents somewhere up in North Kentucky. I don't know any details other than that, but he messaged us in our private chat that he probably wouldn't be back, that they were still in Virginia a couple hours ago. So that's where Ed is.
Yeah, and Skipper's on his way to his cruise, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. So.
Dragon Lair says, Bob, at the show, these snakes sale yesterday. There was 10 yearling dumrels, boas for sale.
Emeralds.
Dumrels.
Nice. Those are the little bitty guys. If I'm remembering my snakes, I'm pretending like I remember them. I think those are little tiny. Yeah, boas. Yeah, he says boas. They're like a pygmy type, one that even Dee could handle.
No, like Foxy. Foxy said the only danger noodle she's got is rootfish and their stuff. And even that, even though you watch them in the pet store, it would be hard for me to lean up against the tank or something for a while. I was like that at way over cootie loaches to start with. It's like they just kind of keep me out. But now I've gotten used to them and I've had to catch some of them by hand because I couldn't catch them in the net. And that was hard to hang on to that the first time. But
They feel like axolotls. Not that I've been handling both of them, but I have had to touch both species once or twice, and that's what they feel like to me. They're real soft like that.
I've had to catch one of those dojo loaches and pull her out of the water and burp her, which basically it's not a burp because it comes out the back end. Get the air out so she can sink because sometimes she gets where she can't come down. Something's wrong up in there, but I just help her get above the pressure of the water, and she poops on me, poots, not poops, and lets the air out. So handling them is kind of because they're long and sneaky feeling, and they're very strong.
Did you do a video about that? Somebody did.
I don't know if I did or not. I've done so many that I can't find because I
Somebody
wasn't.
did.
They're here and there, and I didn't label them. They're still like the wind or whatever it titles them.
Yeah, Foxy. Hey, Jess, Aquatic Morning Show. Hey, Jess.
Yes.
Yeah, I was the same way, Foxy, till someone needed to take. We lost Susie, it looks like. I was the same way till somebody needed to take Nathan, Sand Creek Aquatics little snake. There she is back. There she is back.
Dragon Lair says rainbows were $300 each. Is that a good price? Is that expensive?
Yeah, some people have them on sale that raise them. I mean, have them for sale online. Beautiful ones that are young and eating already, like for $350, $375. And the colors on those, they're selectively bred, are really, really nice. But yeah, that's a pretty good price. I got mine. Normally, it was half price on underground reptiles, and I got her for $200, $199 or something. So,
Well, Pam,
yeah,
do you still have fish? Have you turned all yours into critter cages?
I don't have much right now, mostly because I don't have running water, so I have to buy my water by the gallon. So I can't really have like a whole bunch of fish tanks that I have to change water on weekly because it would cost me a fortune.
Yeah.
hey, Skipper.
So, but I will be getting them again, just not for a little bit here.
Jenny Lynn is enjoying the experience of having a ball python.
Yeah, hers is really pretty too. And
I saw
they're able
pictures
to
of
handle
that.
it. Haven't
But
seen
I've
it
noticed
either.
like you and Mike have both started cutting back on fish and more into reptiles in those same tanks.
Yeah, I still have 65 tanks with fish in them. I have 3 or 4 others with no fish, just plants and water that I'm going to break down eventually, but no rush. So
And Susie just has a reptile room and a fish room, so
she's
hers
got
is.
it. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about moving my reptiles somewhere, except this dining room is the best place. It's just open, as you can see, it's just open, so if I could control the humidity and temperature better, I don't know.
Right.
I have 2 bedrooms that don't have anything in them now, but I don't know how my Wi-Fi is back there. It's not as good.
Skipper's chilling in a hotel room before they fly to Florida to catch the boat.
You must be like halfway down or something. Hoping to get some better internet things.
Yeah, because he was going all the way down to Miami or somewhere, which, you drive all the way to the southern end of Florida. You travel some miles.
Yeah, when I lived in Jacksonville, it's way up at the top, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
long trip down to Miami.
Yeah, it's a long state.
I went to Key West one time, and I said, I'm glad I went because I'll never go again. That's a long drive, and a lot of it on water, over water.
Yeah, I've heard that's one of the prettiest places, though.
It was. I've never been any place out of the country, any place tropical, and it's like a subtropical, and like you can tell, nothing ever gets killed back by weather there or anything because of the warm water around it. And it was pretty cool. It was really laid back, and a lot of the older houses, and they really cater to the. They used to call it not BRBs, but something back then, and that's what we did. We rented a house for a week or something.
Well, up here they used to have beach cottages,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them were like cinder block built, flat roof type little structures. And the fishermen would come and like rent them for like a month or something. Now they're 3 and 4 story level, $2 million homes, and they rent out levels. It's
Right.
a whole different ball game now.
Right. There's the link for Danica next in 30 minutes. Skipper's posted.
Oh, and for those that follow Ed, he and Kenny do that Friday night, and Skipper, all three of them do this Friday night lights, and they talk, ball games or whatever, but they're changing it to ASE. It's going to be like a separate channel instead of being on like Daniken's. Since it's not related to fish, they're going to move it to its own specific channel.
Ed was telling me about that when we went to Atlanta a weekend, 2 weekends ago. He was telling me they were going to do that. And I said, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and did my little subs. I won't miss it. I enjoy it, even though I don't care a thing about the ball game talk. I don't. But, Ed's just so funny.
Yeah, he's such a personality. He's just a natural. Susie, Foxy's asking you what kinds of axolotls do you currently keep?
I have leucistic, albino, the wild type, the black with the white spots. But the wild type is not old enough to breed yet, so I hold off. I was looking for a copper, but I haven't been able to find one that's.
Those are so pretty.
I know.
They're really pretty.
Yeah.
I just have the leucistic and the wild type. That's all.
And I'm trying to decide with the puppies. I don't think I'm going to be able to breed them this year because early spring I was going to breed them again. But having baby axolotls is a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
But Susie, have you seen that rack that Brian made for her?
No, did I? I didn't.
Oh my gosh, you need to check it out. He made her a rack where each little baby has its own, like, it's probably like a gallon size.
Yeah.
And it's on a filter, a sump.
Like a
and
better rack, yeah.
And it automatically switches out the water all day long, and
that's what
it made it so much easier for them.
Yeah.
And it's on wheels too, so they can move it. Whatever they're raising up, they can move it in that room.
Oh wow!
But he built it for the axolotls, but it's
I'll have to check that out because that sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Skipper, it is. It's a whole new ball game from a phone. And of course, I have to use the hardest thing that I'm least adept at. So
I can't mod from a phone. I get maybe one thing in, and it takes me so long to go get it because I have to leave the stream, go get it, and then come back in the stream. That's the only way I know how to do it.
Oh, that reminds me, Foxy's saying it there. We currently have 115 juvenile axolotls here right now. And she's going to be starting to ship those out in a month or something like that, I think, month and a half, if I remember correctly.
You can request a live viewing where, they'll do a private, thing like this, and you get to see pick which one you want.
Wow.
Where you can put it on reserve.
Just message her and you can go on there and get them. She's still got 2 or 3 of them that were named from her original ones that hatched. So.
Yeah, Duke is one of them. I know that. I can't remember the others.
Is there
Oh, she knows all their names.
one named Dee Dee?
Well, Dee Dee got sold.
Oh.
Dee Dee's been done sold.
Dee Dee done got herself gone.
Oh no, Dee Dee's gone.
You should get one, Dee Dee, so you'll have a sibling of it.
I don't have any way to. This room is all heated instead of heaters in the tanks,
Oh yeah.
and it's too much.
Yeah. You know, when my air conditioning went out last, it didn't go out. It's just it wouldn't turn on because I had not cleaned the intake duct so long. And I'm like, no, I just cleaned it, and the man cleaned it, and it started working. But anyway, like for 3 days, it was like 80, 84 inside. I mean, I'm out in the woods, so it wasn't too bad, but still, it was hot and humid in here. And they got up to 78, 79 because I kept fan on them. And of course, I don't run lights on them anyway, just lights from other tanks. And they did okay. They ate and they did all right during that period. Oh, and I ran a wave maker, just a real little one in there too. So they made it all right.
Whippersnapper is in here. Shane's Tanks and Bowls, he got Dee Dee. So I hope his is a sassy mouth like this Dee Dee is.
You got your hands full, I'd say.
And Duke is the baby that came from Miss Susie's eggs that time. A GFP melanistic.
Yep.
What's a GLP?
GSP. It's they're like glow in the dark green eyes, and they kind of like beautiful.
Yeah.
I haven't actually ever seen one of those in real life.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
They look pretty, yeah.
Especially when you put like a blue light on them. Oh my gosh, you can see it from the other side of the room. They just glow.
Oh wow. Huh.
But the dark ones with the green eyes kind of look scary because they look possessed.
Yeah, well, they are a prehistoric looking creature.
Yep.
Anyways, and they're underwater, and they look like they're really thinking about what they're going to do.
But you don't have those anymore, Susan?
Not the GSPs. I didn't sell mine. I gave mine. So I gave those away because I knew I wasn't going to be breeding them anymore. So the guy that lives right near the fish store, he actually breeds them and supplies the fish store. So when I see them in the fish store, I know they were mine. I'm like, yeah, that's very high maintenance. I'm not equipped at this time to.
Yeah.
That's like having a whole lot of baby bettas. Like, I did have a ketchup container, you know, like the big plastic squeezy ones, and I had filled it with bloodworms because they were all in containers. So I was literally like squeak, so that everybody would get the thing. But then I'd have to go and vacuum out. Like there was no automation set up whatsoever, so we had to vacuum out or baste out the poops as they go. I tried like taking them out while feeding them, and that didn't work out. That was just even more maintenance. So it was fun.
They were working her to death too.
It was enjoyable, but I'm like, I'll let somebody else who has more time and energy to dedicate to that.
Yeah, if I were to get one, it'd have to go in a completely different room.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, mine can never come in the fish room. It's just too hot. So they're out in the basement on the first tier, and it never gets above 65, so it's perfect. So
that's perfect. Yeah.
Summer or fall, it's just perfect.
I'd still have to buy a chiller though, no matter what. But my worry would be in a hurricane zone. We can be without power for 8 days, and yes, I do have a generator, but I can't just run but just so much stuff on it.
Right.
And so that would worry me.
People ask me sometimes about using my ceiling fan in the other room behind me in the winter, but of course that's the way we do it here because it blows the warm air back down from those high ceilings. But it's right above that tank, so I'll often run it when I have heat on, just to keep air circulated around those axolotls. They stay cool. So.
Is Foxy still here? I'm just curious if she has any copper. Do you have any coppers?
Me? No.
No, Foxy.
Oh,
Because even a baby, they've been ready. Like in a couple of years, it might be a different situation when the puppies are more chill. Although they're
you
black
just don't.
dogs, they might not ever be chill.
You just don't go and buy one of Foxy's axolotls. She has an interview process. You got to work them things.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
She says
We'll
not
let 'em
yet,
go.
but hopefully one day. Yeah. Well, let me know if you ever breed any coppers or any get coppers. 'Cause they're
It's like
just
my niece
beautiful.
just got in a fish tank and already has it with fish in it. And she says they want, well, my brother was telling me that they said they want axolotl. I was like, I would not get her an axolotl by any means. She's not ready for it yet, you know.
Right.
You know, one of the reasons I stopped showing my axolotls was, well, they don't like light, of course, but still you can do a dimmer lit video. But I would get so much good advice, but I would get people, it's kind of like the beta police almost.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
But people would tell me you can't have fish in there, you know, and I would just have like baby, you know, coal guppies, tiny, but that's what they eat, you know.
Do they think that in the wild somebody hand feeds them?
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. That community is even like I have shown different things over the years with my axolotls, and then I get bombarded. Well, they're not sister and brother, are they? They're not siblings. How old are they? But like they're ready to attack me without knowing anything about them. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Well, you know, maybe in the wild they move, and now they've moved so far apart they're extinct because they didn't want to breed in the same family.
Could be.
Kill themselves off.
Well, and the substrate is always, you know, a big thing too. And I'm like, well, do they just live in one part of the lake, you know, where they were for 10,000 years or whatever, you know? I don't know. It just seems like a lot of OCD about them. I mean, I want to do the best for all my fish, but at certain points, you've got to be realistic. Brian gets some axolotl police on his channel.
It's funny. I had one of my axolotls, and it was one of the juveniles, was going through something. I don't know what it was at the time, but I had one tank that was cold enough. I didn't have time to get it out. I just had to pull her out of him and put him in. It looked like he was splitting in two. He was flashing and thriving all over. So I set my camera up while I tried all different. I tried the Heimlich. Well, he did turn out to be fine, and he lasted. He had a snail stuck in his throat.
Oh yeah.
I remember that.
So, but after I got through the whole thing, people were like bombarded. That tank's too small. I'm gonna call the fish police, game warden on you, and so like I literally just took him out and put him in a 20-gallon just to. It was a cold water to get him away from everything. I was like, oh my gosh, like these people are. It was a much watched video. People are still like, that's disgusting. That tank is so dirty. I'm like, oh my God, it's not his tank. Like they didn't watch this video. Oh, you shouldn't be allowed to have him. He's got substrate stuck in his throat. I'm like, there's no substrate. What are you talking about? Crazy people. But I mean, good for the good of the pet. Fine, you keep them your way. I'll keep them my way. You do you. I'll do me.
Right.
Like, wow.
Now I did know someone that was feeding the regular bloodworms, just the regular cubes, and she would give hers. It was a big axolotl. She actually owned one of the fish stores, but anyway, she was giving hers the unthawed cubes, and I think it died, and I think that's why. That it probably got a cube in there, and it was too much, you know, and it didn't melt fast enough. I don't know. I didn't tell her that, but
you just don't know sometimes.
I did have to give him the Heimlich without pulling him out of the water, and then I had to add slime coat into the water because I was afraid, because I was handling him so much. He was dying on me, And he turned out he lived for another 4 years. He was fine, and he's one of my best breeders. But at that time, I thought he was dying. And he was literally splitting open. He was suffocating. And I did the Heimlich, and out comes this stupid pest snail. It's like, and I didn't feed my actual snails, and I didn't show that part on the video because people would have said, "You're not supposed to feed them snails." Like,
They're not puffers. Now that's like, I'm kind of spoiled with bettas. I like to see a betta in a 40-gallon tank. Now I know that's overkill,
right.
but that's the way it makes me happy to see them doing their betta stuff, And but when I clear out a shrimp tank and you get the little seed shrimps, I move a betta in one of those tanks so they can eat all them things up for me. But I feel so bad the whole time that they're in there because, like when I'm 6 gallon, it's like, hurry up, buddy, eat all the stuff so I can put you back, because I don't want to see them in. I want to see them in the 40. And I've actually started keeping more than one betta, male betta, in a tank together. And they're all doing fine, the ones that I've done. I've had to mix different ones.
Yeah.
But a 40 is so big and they're so heavily planted that they hardly ever run across each other.
I did that too a few years ago, and it was a 33 long. And I found that the ones that were wild bettas, like the wild ones, rather than like the domestic ones, really did a lot better. But none of them fought. They might flare up at each other, but they would go back to their corner, so to speak.
Yeah, they kind of like, I'm here. No, I'm here. And then like, okay, I'll go over there and you go over there.
Yep. Never had them fight.
And
Pea puffers is something too. I was trying to think what people have got on me about before. And I had one lady, I finally blocked her. She went on and on because I had my pea puffers in a community tank, and it was with like 50 other swordtails. And they were fish I brought in out of a tub a couple years ago. And they were fine. They didn't bother them. They didn't bother them. They had lots of plants in there that I brought in, and they did fine in there. And they loved the snails that were on the plants. And
yeah, when I had pea puffers, I had them in a tank with a couple different kinds of regular fish, and they did just fine. They didn't bother them at all.
Right. And then she said something about I bought some babies, some tiny, and they were just barely able to eat, just tiny. And so I had like 3 or 4 of them in a 5-gallon so that I could feed them and they could concentrate, and it was heated, aerated, everything, plants. And I mean, it was perfect. And yes, it needed to be bigger when they grew, but I was trying to feed them. Oh my God, I blocked her. I said, I can't deal with this. Mind your own business,
Yep.
After, of course, Foxy and I dress up as mermaids. And usually after our stream, I'll do my little whatever video or something. And I just put it out. I don't even know what I said. And somebody says, "What are you?"
What are you?
But if you have to ask, I'm not going to have to tell you. But what are you?
Yep.
Just take a break, I guess. And Elaine says, I watch to see people's tanks, and I'm disappointed that people don't show tanks anymore. Now I understand why they don't.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And Pam and I have talked about it before, keeping fish for years and years and years. We just don't even try to give advice anymore, or unless somebody
because people just come unglued,
and they know better because they
know better. Yeah,
months now. They know better.
It's crazy.
I think the last time I gave any advice is somebody asked. It was on a Facebook post, and somebody asked how big of a tank you needed to have for a couple cories, and I said, it all depends. But I had some pepper cories at the time that were in a 7-gallon tub, because that's all I had when I brought them in from outside. They were outside in a tank over the summer, and I brought them in, and there was 3 cories, and I put them in a 7-gallon plastic tub with some a big ball of Java moss, And everybody just started coming unglued on me for having these 3 pepper corys in a 7-gallon tub. And I was going to kill the poor things. And I said, hey, I just did a water change yesterday and pulled out 25 babies. So I think they're doing fine in the 7-gallon tub. They obviously aren't too unhappy in there.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Yeah, people are funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are.
people just get weird about stuff, and and like say it's like I don't even bother giving advice anymore, even though I have years and years worth of experience,
Yeah, but
because
when I'm showing off
people
a
just
tank,
think that they know everything already
when I'm
from
showing
what
off
they've
a
read
tank,
or whatever, And
I'm not even giving advice. I'm just showing off a tank. Like, look at these 8
Right.
bottles in this 29-gallon. I'm hoping they pair off. And I get somebody that'll chime in, or 2 people inside the chat will start fighting. I did that with my bearded dragon. Like my silky bearded dragon doesn't have any scales. Needs a higher humidity than most bearded dragons. It needs a bath all the time. It's in a perpetual state of shed. So I was showing, like, I keep the water bowl in there, and 2 people, I mean, they went on 60 to 80 comments back and forth fighting about whether you should have a water bowl inside a bearded dragon enclosure. I finally had to take the comments off. Like, this is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
It was so ridiculous.
Oh,
Well,
I've been called. I forget. It was some kind of fish related thing, and I'd given my opinion, and they ended up turning off the comments. But this one guy was like calling me names in all capital letters and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell? It's worse than politics. It's
Well-
worse than making comments about politics.
Once my agamas have their little heads together, they're snuggling,
Oh.
literally.
Oh.
And she just moved and tucked underneath now. It's so cute. But yeah, when you start calling names and you make it personal to me, I'm done, because they've lost their validity. It's not about what you're talking about anymore. So I just stopped there. So
I
anyway.
consider myself a noob, even though I've been doing this, 3 years now. I've made a lot of mistakes.
We all do.
Everybody.
You know what? I look and see who has all these fish and who is still keeping all these fish. Apparently, they know how to keep fish alive. So you know what? That's who I go and I ask.
Yeah.
And it's the people in the fish fam that I go and ask.
Me too.
Yeah, and besides that, talk about making mistakes. I mean, you look at Bob and I, when we started keeping fish, there was not the internet or information available, and and so much has been learned and improved since we started.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
no time you had to boil your water or let it
like
sit.
when I first started keeping fish, the thing to do was once a week, totally tear the tank apart and scrub everything down.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, yeah, that's what I did when I got my first tank, is once a week.
Everything got
change the
scrubbed
filter
hard.
media, take every decoration out and scrub it off, and yeah, Bob knows, don't you, Bob?
Yep.
I did that as a teenager because.
And everybody thought that the magic was in the water. Everybody thought the old tank water was
Use
magic.
the old tank water, right.
Yep. So you'd move tank water from one tank to another, when in actuality the tank water is not where the beneficial bacteria is. It's on the objects in the tank. But nobody knew that at the time when we started keeping fish. That wasn't even knowledge. I mean, that was years away from being known. So yeah.
And when you stop and think about it, way back then, the little local fish stores, most of the time they didn't keep fish very long, so you didn't buy loads and loads, and there wasn't thousands of ways to get fish.
And if your fish got sick, you basically had a choice of methylene blue or that green stuff. That was it. There was no other fish medications. That was it.
So
I remember I got a molly to add to my little community tank on the first tank I ever had, and the next day when I got up, it had ick. So I went to the pet store, and they gave me methylene blue to treat it with, and instructions on how to do it and everything. So I treated my tank, which, by the way, all tanks at that time ended up having blue silicone. And the next day, I mean, well, within a week, it took a few days to do it, but within a week, every fish in my tank was dead except for that damn molly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just the way it was back then. I mean, you know, that's just the way it was. That there wasn't the knowledge, there wasn't the internet. And I can remember when certain things started becoming, coming into knowledge and play and stuff, like the first planted tanks and stuff where you actually put like
Real plants.
real plants in them and stuff. I remember those when the people first started doing it. So yeah, we've been doing it a long time, huh, Bob?
Yeah, they were floating plants. They were anacris and foxtail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I never knew there was a real plant you could put in the aquarium until I landed on fish tube a little over 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when Bob and I first started, there wasn't plants. I mean, you couldn't get plants for the aquarium.
Plastic.
I used to get this green stuff. It had 2 little styrofoam balls, and it looked like hornwort a little bit, but it was real dark green. And you put that in when your guppies and black mollies were having babies, so they could hide in it. It wasn't big enough to hide in, and that's all they had. You know, it's one of those things.
I'm calling the SPCA, Pam. That's it.
Lumpy dog. Hi, Lumpy dog.
Hey, Lumpy Dog. Well, I think we probably have another topic if we can get into it in the future. And certainly Mike knows about fish from back then. And Susie, everybody here should remember some of the original stuff when they started out. So that may be a good topic to follow up on sometime. But our time is up, I think. A few minutes ago, Huawei said it was 10 minutes till Kenny, and I don't want to go over anybody. So
yeah, we got three minutes.
All right. Well, that'll give people time to run to the bathroom, except oldsters like me. But thanks to everybody.
Bob, you can still move. We saw it.
Huh?
You can still move. We saw it.
Well, if my arm had anything to do with it, it'd be okay. But I've still got to walk, run. So. Thanks, panel. Another great stream. And guys, if anybody here doesn't know these channels, check them out because they're all great. That's why they're here. And there's a link in the chat for Daniken. So head over there if you want to see some more.
Don't forget Mike on his PayPal account, Sam, and Pam's got a stream later tonight.
At 11 Eastern. And don't forget to check out Mike's PayPal. Like she said.
My stream tonight will be, I'll have a couple little cards for sale, but we should have a lot of fun. It's like an extra fun stream. So
who's going to get bit tonight?
We'll see if we can get Bob on again.
I was going to have my little white leucistic female blue-eyed leucistic ball python out, and she's been staring at me. For those of you that were traumatized to see that snakes are safe, but I forgot. Thanks everybody. Thanks panel. Thanks chat. Thanks mods. Have a good week.